Sars is a commune in the Pas-de-Calais department in the Nord-Pas-de-Calais region of France. The village lies along the Albert-Bapaume road. The village is situated 16 miles south of Arras, at the junction of the D11 and the D929 roads. Courcelette lies to the south, Pys and Miraumont to the northwest, Eaucourt l'Abbé to the southeast, the Butte de Warlencourt to the northeast, and to the southwest is Destremont Farm. Military operations began in the area in September 1914 during the race to the sea, when the divisions of the 2nd Bavarian Corps advanced westwards on the north bank of the Somme, passing through Les Sars towards Albert and Amiens. The village became a backwater until 1916, when the British and French began the Battle of the Somme and was the site of several air operations by the Royal Flying Corps, which attacked German supply dumps in the vicinity. During the Battle of roads.Courcelette, the British Fourth Army advanced close to the village and operations to capture it began on the 1st of October. The village was overrun by the 23rd Division on the 7th of October, during the Battle of La Transloy, several hundred prisoners being taken from the 4th Ersatz Division. After the village was captured, the crest of the rise to the east became the limit of the British advance. In the winter of 1916–1917, which was the worst for 50 years, the area was considered by the troops of the 1st Anzac Corps to be the foulest sector of the Somme front. The village was lost in March 1918 and recaptured for the last time in August by the 21st Division. Background: 1914 troops of the 4th Bavarian Division reached Les Sars on the 27th of September, during the Battle of Albert, and advanced on Bazantin-le-Petit and Longueval, where the advance was stopped by French troops attacking eastwards. From Albert, the 26th Württemberg Reserve Division advanced through Les Sars during the night of 27–28 September. 28th Baden Reserve Division advanced on the south side of the Bapaume-Albert Road, through the village towards Fricourt on the 28th of September. On the 9th of July, 21 Squadron Royal Flying Corps bombed supply dumps at Les Sars. A flight of F.E-2B fighters of 22 Squadron escorting artillery observation and contact patrol aircraft on the 15th of July attacked ground targets. One aircraft chased German soldiers down the Flers-Les Sars road and then attacked some cavalry seen hiding under trees and scattered them. On the 21st of July, a 4-squadron reconnaissance aircraft crew reported new entrenchments around the village. Squadrons of the 15th Wing managed to attack Les Sars several times at the end of July, and in August the 3 Brigade made several attacks on the village. On the 27th of August, air observers watched as infantry patrols probed towards Les Sars and made many low-flying attacks on German troops on the 4th Army front. 1–3 October. During a 3rd Corps attack in the Battle of La Transloy, 2 battalions of the 7th Brigade of the 23rd Division attacked Destremont Farm and captured Flers Trench and part of Flers support. Touch was gained with the 151st Brigade of the 50th Division on the right flank, on the north side of the Bapaume Road. A long bombing fight eventually forced back the Germans in Flers Trench, and touch was gained on the left flank with the 2nd Canadian Division. Patrols probed towards Les Sars watched by the crews of 34 Squadron and 3 Squadron, but were driven back by small arms fire from the houses, and the captured positions further back were consolidated. Rain began to fall around noon on the 2nd of October and continued for 2 days, turning the ground to mud. The 50th Division was relieved by the 68th Brigade of the 23rd Division, and opposite Sars, the 69th Brigade took over from the 70th Brigade. The 69th Brigade tried to bomb up Flers' support on the north side of the Bapaume Road. The German 7th Division west of the Bapaume Road and the right of the 6th Bavarian Reserve Division in Sars were relieved by the 4th Ersatz Division on the 3rd of October. Prelude. Preliminary operations. 2 preliminary operations were conducted by the 69th Brigade to capture the remaining length of Flers' support trench and part of Flers' trench just south of the Bapaume Road, which had been recaptured by a German counterattack. Late on the 3rd of October, 2 companies attacked Flers' support north of the main road, and a party began a bombing attack on the recaptured part of Flers' trench at the same time. The attack on Flers' support had to over a distance of 100 yards, but the mud slowed progress and massed German machine gun fire caused many casualties. The companies reached the German wire but could get no further. The bombing attack on Flers' trench succeeded, but German artillery fire the next day demolished the strong point and the party was withdrawn. Both attacks were costly failures, the attack on Flers' support leading to 139 casualties and the bombing attack 60 more losses. On the 6th of October, the Tangle, a maze of trenches east of Sars, was attacked by the 11th Northumberland Fusiliers from the 68th Brigade, but the troops were later withdrawn due to the extent of German return fire. The weather began to improve on the 4th of October, but high winds and low cloud made air observation difficult. The rain stopped on the 5th of October and next day the ground rapidly dried. German artillery fire on the area was continuous and the opposing lines were very close together, leading to 6 Germans being captured early on the 6th of October, who gave information which confirmed the results of gleanings from a German signal lamp, which were read by a German speaker. British plan of attack. The 23rd Division had been ordered to attack Sars, in combination with an attack by the 47th Division on the Butte de Warlencourt, but constant rain on the churned-up ground led postponements of the 23rd Division attack until the 7th of October. The 23rd Division took over the front of the 50th Division front on the 3rd of October, which gave the division a frontage of 1,000 yards south of the Bapaume Road and 400 yards on the north side. Flers' support was held for 1,000 yards on the right and in the center to a point just south of the road. The division was to take the village on another 800 yards of the Flers trenches on the left flank. The 2nd Canadian Division cooperating with the attacks on the trenches. The village was built along the Albert Bapaume Road and most of the divisional front crossed the road at a right angle until 500 yards from the right flank of the divisional front, where the Flers trenches doglegged to the east. An attack on the left would move parallel to the main road and an advance on the right would converge towards the north end of the village. In front of Sars on the right flank were 2 obstacles, a maze of trenches known as the Tangle and a sunken road leading from the west into the village. An advance from this flank would also be vulnerable to enfilade fire from the south end of the village. Battalions from the 68th and 69th Brigades were to conduct the attack, in which the right-hand battalion of each brigade was to attack first. In the first phase, the 12th Durham Light Infantry of the 68th Brigade was to capture the Tangle and the sunken road. The 9th Green Howards of the 69th Brigade was to capture the village up to the central crossroads. In the second phase, the 13th DLI were to advance in the center and take the north end of the village, and the 11th West Yorkshire would advance 20 minutes after 0 hour and take Flers' support on the north side of the road. Artillery artillery support was to come from the 23rd, 50th and 47th Divisional Artilleries. After the preliminary bombardment, a creeping barrage by 18-pounder field guns was to begin 400 yards in front of the jumping-off lines and move forward at 50 yards per minute. A flanking barrage was arranged for the 11th West York's attack on Flers support. A machine gun barrage, Stokes mortar bombardment and tank support were also arranged. Battle. The 7th of October. On the 7th of October, German aircraft appeared over British artillery positions from Eaucourt to Flers and directed artillery fire onto the British batteries. The fighter pilots of 4 Brigade found that the German aircraft had gone by the time that they arrived. Contact patrol pilots found that the westerly wind was so strong that they had to turn into the wind for the observers to study the ground, which made them nearly stationary and easy targets for infantry ground fire. 2 crew were wounded and many of the aircraft were damaged. At 1:45 p.m. 0 hour for the 4th Army attack, the 12th DLI of the 68th Brigade attacked on the right flank in 4 waves behind a tank. The tank had arrived a minute after 0 and cleared the tangle of German defenders before it was occupied by the infantry. When the tank turned left at the sunken Eaucourt-la-Baie-les-Sars road, it was knocked out by a shell. The infantry came under machine gun fire from the road and crossfire from machine guns in Les Sars and from the right flank. The battalion formed a defensive flank from the tangle to the right of British front line. The 9th Green Howards of the 69th Brigade had advanced on the left flank at the same time and entered Les Sars close behind the barrage, heading for the first objective at the crossroads in the village. The German garrison was surprised and many German soldiers were killed as they attempted to man machine guns, but the Germans recovered quickly and managed to slow the British advance along the village. An unduly negative report of the progress of the battalion was given to a patrol of the 13th DLI, which had gone forward early to maintain liaison. The commander of the 13th DLI sending a company to attack the crossroads from the south, with the 2nd company in support. The 1st company advanced in 2 waves and was stopped by German machine gun fire, and the 2nd wave stopped on the same line and engaged the Germans with rifle fire and hand grenades. The supporting company came up and the attack restarted, meeting the 9th Green Howards at the crossroads, having killed or captured about 100 German infantry. On the right, the 12th DLI saw that the Germans in the sunken road had been outflanked, rushed the road and took possession. 20 minutes after 0, the 11th West Yorks formed 2 companies in Flers Trench and 2 in Destremont Farm. The foremost and rearmost lines were struck by massed machine gun fire from the front and the left flank and by artillery fire. The 2 companies advancing from Destremont Farm lost all but 32 men and the attack failed. A bombing attack up Flers Trench, which had begun at the same time, advanced for 50 yards and captured the heads of 2 communication trenches to Flers support. Bombing attacks up the communication trenches to Flers support were met by determined German resistance and stopped. A company of the 10th Duke of Wellington's regiment reinforced the 11th West Yorks. The 9th Green Howards in the village had consolidated and arranged a combined attack north of the village on Flers support. The German defense collapsed as soon as the 3rd attack began and the German infantry hid or ran back from Flers support. The Germans were engaged by artillery, machine guns and rifle fire and most were killed. A Lewis gunner in the village crossroads shooting down 70 to 80 men. A captured corporal was made to gain the surrender of survivors and more than 100 Germans gave up, as did another 60 stragglers. The 11th West Yorks were severely depleted and another 2 companies of the 10th Dukes were sent forward to help consolidate the 69th Brigade. Objectives: In the centre, the 13th DLI was to advance through the Green Howards and capture the rest of the village. The companies of the 13th DLI and the Green Howards in the village left a platoon at the crossroads to dig in and gain touch with the 12th DLI on the right and posted bombers at dugout entrances. Little resistance was met and the north end of the village was occupied. At 3:40 p.m. a 3rd 13th DLI company advanced and joined the force in the village, to help dig strong points beyond the village to cover the avenues of attack from the east and northeast. The 12th DLI had dug in along the sunken road beyond the tangle and pushed out advanced posts on the right flank. The 13th DLI and the Green Howards consolidated the village and linked the new posts beyond the northern fringe to the 12th DLI posts by 7:50 p.m. A request was made for 2 tanks and 2 companies to attack the Butte de Warlencourt from the west. After patrols had found the area to be unoccupied but no troops were available, touch had not been gained with the 69th Brigade troops northwest of the village and a company of the 11th Northumberland Fusiliers with 2 machine guns went forward after dark. The 8th of October, the 23rd Division Infantry and Engineers spent the night consolidating the Sars defences and preparing for the attack with the Canadians, which had been postponed to the 8th of October. 2 battalions formed carrying parties and 2 more cleared out 26th Avenue, the only communication trench in the area. The delayed 69th Brigade attack on Flo's Trench and Flo's support to the north of the village was prepared overnight, to meet the attack of the 2nd Canadian Division and to capture a quarry behind the German trenches. 2 companies of the 8th York and Lancaster Regiment, which had been attached to the 69th Brigade, took over on the divisional left flank during the night. Each company had a Stokes mortar and the Flo's trenches were bombarded all night by the 23rd Division artillery. The Canadian attack on Regina Trench began at 4:50 a.m. and the York and Lancashire companies began to bomb along the trenches as soon as the barrage lifted. The attack succeeded swiftly and 50 prisoners and 3 machine guns were captured. Touch was gained with the Canadians and the quarry reconnoitred. It was found to be overlooked from German positions, so a post was dug nearby in sheltered ground to overlook the area. A German counter-attack forced back the Canadians, leaving the 23rd Division flank open, but no attack followed. Aftermath analysis. The high winds and the lack of observation in the preceding days due to rain reduced the accuracy of the British artillery and the presence of German aircraft, which correspondingly increased the accuracy of German defensive barrages, contributed to the failure of the infantry to reach their objectives, except at Les Sars and beyond Eaucourt. The 47th Division attack on the Butte de Warlencourt succeeded on the right flank but failed to capture the Butte, which was on the left flank. The 23rd Division had captured all its objectives and credited the artillery support for the success of the attacks, along with the efforts of the troops on the lines of communication, who from 2 to 8 October endured constant shelling. Telephone lines were frequently cut by the German artillery fire, but the brigade headquarters were rarely out of touch with the battalions for many minutes. Runners from battalion headquarters to the front crossed ground under severe bombardment yet rarely delivered messages late. The initiative of the battalion commanders and the coordination of units, so that the 13th DLI immediately reinforced the Green Howards and the discretion of the 12th DLI in waiting at the tangle were commended. Casualties. The 23rd Division had 627 or 700 137 casualties according to either the divisional or the 68th Brigade records. The division took 528 prisoners. Subsequent operations. After the capture of Sars, the crest of the rise to the east, over which the spires of Bapaume could be glimpsed in clear weather, became the limit of the British advance. During the winter of 1916–1917, which was the worst for 50 years, the area was considered by the troops of the 1st Anzac Corps to be the foulest sector of the Somme front. The village was lost on the 25th of March 1918 during Operation Michael. Sars was recaptured for the last time on the 25th of August by the 21st Division, during the Second Battle of Bapaume.